Africa's largest economy, Nigeria, is working towards inclusive growth. The Central Bank of Nigeria has launched a campaign to raise financial inclusion to 80% by 2020. And of course, to discuss this further, we're joined by our resident geo-economic analyst, Mr. William Gumede. It's always a pleasure to see you, sir. Now, William, can you please unpack the concept of inclusive growth and what it actually really means?
I mean, really what it means is that, when an economy grows, that, it means that as many people as possible benefits from the growth. Now, the problem has been, Nigeria has been growing. I mean, this year, the predictions for this year and for next year is growth over 6%. I mean, this is massively. Think about it in a comparison to the kind of predictions in South Africa, 1.5% growth, sort of the maximum predictions in South African context. So Nigerian economy has been growing. At the beginning of the year, they rebased the economy. And, the economy is now 90% bigger than it was a year ago. But we still have massive inequality, millions of people who are poor, and only a few people benefit. So that's not inclusive growth.
Now, why is it important for an economy to achieve this inclusive growth, and what benefits would they bring? I mean, I hear you talking about the fact that really the ordinary man should be benefiting too.
Absolutely. Now, if you have high growth rates, but, the majority of people exclude from the benefits of those growth rates, then you're going to get your social instability. You get what you see in Nigeria now, religious fundamentalism, because people feel left out and they turn towards all sorts of, whether it's religious fundamentalism, whether it's sort of Christian fundamentalism or Muslim fundamentalism, whether it's Boko Haram or the sort of, the new churches, evangelical churches, and so on. And people also withdraw from society.
Do you think that this sort of religious extremism is caused by the fact that people feel excluded from the economy?
Absolutely. I mean, across the continent, where people don't feel included, and if they don't feel they're part of the benefits of an economy and also of the political system, then people seek other alternatives. And often, what are the alternatives and options there for them? Is the sort of fundamentalism from either religious fundamentalism or cultural fundamentalism.
Who's taking advantage of that gap, knowing that there's a disgruntled portion of society?
I mean, what we should have actually have, opposition parties, which are relevant and who could, come up with alternative policies and be competitive, but we don't have that. And then we get, movements like Boko Haram, for example, or Al-Qaeda in Africa, taking advantage of that sort of space.
Now, why is Nigeria taking this step now? Has it got anything to do with the recent rebasing?
There's a couple of things. Why are they taking the steps? Because, it is not sustainable for Nigeria to grow at 6 to 7%, but only a few people benefit. It's not sustainable. So what you do is you grow, but your majority of people remain poor. Inequality persists. It is unsustainable. It makes a country unviable in the long term, because in the long term you can grow at that level, but that growth is going to collapse in the long term unless it is inclusive.
And there's an argument that access to finance on its own can't really bring about financial inclusion. What are your thoughts on that viewpoint?
In the Nigerian cases and in many African countries, ordinary people don't have access to finance, and that maybe is the key. So if a country like Nigeria wants to get that inclusive growth, they need to give, ordinary people access to finance. I mean, just look at Nigeria, for example. The majority of people are based in the informal sector. So in the informal sector, whether they are subsistence farmers or whether they sell their products in the market on the corner streets and so on, many of them don't have access to finance. Now, if they can get access to finance, then at least, they can expand their production, they can export, and so on, and it would just expand the economy. So, access to finance really is absolutely crucial if one wants to get that inclusive growth.